Well, hello, folks out there in YouTube land. Got a big show lined up for you. Let's get right on into it. All right. Yeah, the SEC imploded yesterday. It was a wild day. And I can tell you this much. If you weren't entertained by that, I don't know what to tell you.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
Yeah, that was an amazing day. I know it wasn't amazing for some teams in the SEC, but it was something to watch. And especially with the 12-team playoff, it made every single game so important. Normally, those games wouldn't have meant crap. You had teams with 2 losses. Nobody's going to watch that because you've got to be undefeated or have 1 loss at most to get in the 4-team playoff. But in a 12-team, it's a little different animal. All right, let's take a look and see where everybody's ranked now. This is ESPN's estimates. Of course, they've still got Oregon number 1, obviously, undefeated. Then you've got Ohio State at number 2, Texas number 3 after beating Kentucky. Penn State, they barely got past Minnesota. Notre Dame moved up a spot. They beat Army. Georgia beat Massachusetts. They're up 2. Tennessee's up 3 to number 7. Miami's up 3. SMU's up 4. Indiana's down 5. Boise State up 1. Clemson. Look at Clemson trying to get into the playoff. Now, this doesn't mean they'll be in the playoff. It just means they got a legitimate chance. Alabama dropped down 6. ASU up 7. And Ole Miss down 6. They're pretty much out of it, I would think. And look at South Carolina showing up. They're trying to get in the game. Now, we had 4 monster games yesterday. Indiana got whooped by Ohio State. And, of course, that dropped them down significantly. But there were so many losses in the SEC that keeps them still having a good shot at getting in the playoff, even though it's the first time they played a real team.
How dare you!
And it didn't go so good. They only had like 151 yards offense, and they were kind of the vaunted offense. It's amazing how good you can look when you're not playing top 25 teams. Ole Miss was the big game for the VOLS and several other teams. They lost to Florida, which is just – Florida's for real, folks. I'm telling you, they gave us a ton of grief up in Neyland this year. And, of course, they were so ready to fire Billy Napier. It was unbelievable. I mean, they did everything but put a Mayflower in front of his house. They had $26 million put together with the donors. I mean, they were doing everything they could. Now they're all about Billy and DJ Lagway. And Jackson Dart, he was playing a pretty good game. He had over 300 yards, but then he threw 2 brutal interceptions, really 3. And that was kind of it. And he was in tears afterwards. And that 12-team playoff just makes people crazy because they want to get in so bad. And Ole Miss had a great team. You know, they still do. They just, look, you lost 3 games, and it is what it is. And Lane Kiffin, you could tell after the game, he was all about the analytics. He could have scored 9 points with some easy kicks, one of which they missed. And he'd won the game, but he likes to go for it. And he's all about the analytics, so sometimes you got the feel of the game too. And Florida's defense was playing pretty tough. Now, Alabama was the worst loss of the day. They were in great shape in the playoff. I mean, they were looking fantastic. Looked like they'd be playing in the SEC title game. And Oklahoma just absolutely whooped them. Now, you're going to notice that all of these losses are on the road. That's the thing, especially in the SEC. It's so hard to win on the road, even against teams that are 500. And Bama waltzed into Norman and just absolutely got assaulted. And Jalen Milroe, it was a bad game. It really was. He only threw for 164 yards with 3 interceptions. And those interceptions were tragic. Some were his fault, some weren't. But 24-3, and I can tell you in Alabama land, they didn't appreciate it.
Basically, you got to laugh to keep from crying. What we seen tonight was a damn travesty. Every Alabama fan should be ashamed and embarrassed at what we witnessed tonight from our Alabama Crimson Tide, my Alabama Crimson Tide. We go all the way to Norman, Oklahoma to kick a damn field goal. To kick a field goal.
Yeah, Bama was not feeling too good after that ball game. This is not a Nick Saban coach team anymore. You can tell that just wouldn't happen with Nick around. You know, just he never got handled like that. And then you've got the Auburn Tigers and Texas A&M, and Auburn did the most Auburn thing you can do. Jumped up 21-0. You think they've got them licked. It's no problem. They're up 3 touchdowns, and they give it right back. And I remember I had texted a couple of my Auburn buddies. It's like, you got them now. It's 21-0. They were like, don't count your chickens. We know our Auburn team. You can't get them excited about anything. Any of the Auburn fans are like, we know what we're going to do. They feel very jinxed, and rightfully so. I think most of them were doing this during the game.
Close your eyes and listen to this. Winkum, pinkum, notimus, rex. Protect us all from the man with the hex.
Yeah, they know. They've lost too many ways this year. They've had so many leads that they've given up, and this was one where they were about to do it. They end up going into 3 overtimes and finally got down to doing 2-point conversions, and they finally pulled it out at home. And Auburn's a good team. They just, I don't get what their problem is. I guess it's just strictly quarterback at this point. But they've got one coming for next year, but he's just going to be a freshman. So, I don't know. They need to go out and spend some money in the portal. And Texas A&M was sitting great. I mean, they win that ball game. They go into Texas. They got a chance to get in the SEC championship game. That was a huge loss for them and pretty much knocked them out of the playoff as well. So now we're looking at, crap, we may only get like 3 teams in the SEC into the playoff. So I can go ahead and tell you, the Big Ten, the ACC, and Big 12 loved what happened yesterday. They couldn't be happier. Yeah, absolutely. And the Tennessee Volunteers are going to have to be put into the playoff, and we'll see. They may end up as high as number 8 at some point, depending on how the next week goes. We still got to play Vanderbilt, and we cannot look past Diego Pavia. That guy has caused all kinds of trouble for a lot of teams. You can't look past Vanderbilt anymore. You know, in the years past, I wouldn't even thought twice about this ball game because Heupel usually beats them by 40 or 50. I don't see that happening this year. But Ward Manuel will have no choice. He'll have to allow the Vols in, and he's not going to be happy about it.
I got to do something here. I still can't believe it. I got to give you your dream shot. I'm going to...
Yep, so I'm looking forward to seeing those college football playoff rankings. Should be pretty interesting to see how it all plays out. Of course, you got to worry about the group of 5 and, of course, the conference champions. This thing's still very fluid and could change quite a bit with another week to go. Then you got all the conference championships. That could change it even more. So, should be pretty interesting, but what a day. Yesterday was wild. It was the most wild day of the year by far with all those upsets. And they were all on the road. So, there you go. If you like this content, be sure to hit that like button. Lets me know continue to cover all these big college sports stories. If you've not subscribed, hit this little button right here. It won't cost you a dime. Help you get my videos. And right over here is the most recent video. YouTube thinks you'll enjoy. We'll see you next time on Sports Talk Jay.